right? The Wildcats are now beginning its season at home, which could actually be a good thing. The only problem is that it's against USC for the first game of the season. We mentioned the most updated depth chart in last week's show, and one of the things that we pointed out was the amount of new players starting for Arizona this season. I mean, I would give you a list of all the new players, but honestly, there's two that like to save us some time here, Ryan. Which new starter do you think will have the biggest impact come this Saturday?
I think the answer is Gary Brightwell, because I believe that the way that they win this football is slowing the game down and just using that force like we know they have with that running attack. Because as we saw against ASU, like flat out, USC does not have a good defense so far. It's still early. We'll see, but like they're not that good. ASU gashed that defense up and down the field, and I think Arizona needs to do the same. And also, they need to just take care of the football. As we saw, I lost count in that USC ASU game how many turnovers. I feel like in the first quarter there was like 5. But yeah, like they just need to take care of the ball and feed Gary Brightwell.
I think Gary Brightwell is the man this year. I'm really high on him. I'm honestly pretty excited about pretty much all the new starters. To be honest, like I love that Donovan Lane moved to left guard to make room for Jordan Morgan at that left tackle position. Donovan Lane played left tackle last year, but now he's moving inside to play next to Jordan Morgan. He said great things about Jordan Morgan, that he's progressed really well and he loves playing next to him. Like I honestly think that's going to be a pretty good offensive line. Like I think all of those guys are big and they're experienced, and I think that's going to be a really fun group to watch. But also really like Jackson Turner and Reddy Short. I like the fact that they're starting, just because that means that they outperform the previous starters who are still on the roster. Like Arizona could have easily just started Christian Young, who started for them last year and has that experience, but they opted to go with the two newer guys. So the fact that those two guys who barely got any playing time last year, Reddy Short didn't get any playing time at all, like in his whole college career. So like the fact that those two guys beat out a guy who was a starter for them last year, it actually makes me really optimistic about the two of them, and I'll be definitely watching them this weekend.
Yeah, I think they have high expectations. And as you were talking about the O line, that's where it's going to start for Grant Gunnell. They need to protect him and not let that USC front get to him, because like it all starts with protecting your quarterback. And to me, another guy that I think is going to have a great season and hopefully comes out strong, which I think he will this Saturday, is Anthony Pandy. To me, he's the leader of that defensive back group, linebacking core, and I think he's going to lead that group and do some big things this season.
Yeah, we've heard Anthony Pandy's name talked a bunch. He's going to be that guy leading not only the linebacker group, but a big part of that defense as well. He's going to be right next to DJ Mourning, who is a freshman coming in, who we've heard good things about him as well. So I think Anthony Pandy is going to be a really good mentor for him, and they named him the captain. So I think everybody's on board with Anthony Pandy being the guy for them. I also really like Keon Bars. I know he was kind of a rotational guy last year, but he's listed as the starting defensive end for Arizona. And, we were able to talk to him this most recent media availability this past week. And, he seems like the right man for the job. Like he just seems confident. And Kevin Sutherland even said that, he is a Sunday caliber player, which means that, he could see Keon Bars playing in the NFL one day. Like they're really high on him. And so that makes me really confident. Like I think he's going to be a big impact dude on Saturday, and playing next to Aaron Blackwell and Roy Lopez, two other new guys who we all expect to be really good players. I think that's going to be a really good defensive line too. All the starters last year are now backups now. Trayvon Mason, Nahi Salunga, those guys are they're rotational players now, and so it really tells me how good all three of them are. Just to come in and just jump everybody in the depth chart, and I think ASU kind of dominated that game in the trenches last week against USC. They did a really good job, defending the run, which makes me pretty optimistic about, Arizona's defensive line. If they can do the same thing, because they've got the guys to do it. So I'll be watching Keon Bars, and I'll be watching that entire defensive line. I think that's a good little group there.
Yeah, and the other guy that obviously is Grant Gunnell. I've been waiting since the moment that Khalil Tate graduated and left. I just been excited from the flashes last season just to see what he could be able to do like as the full-time starter. And it's a great opportunity this Saturday at home against USC. And I want him. I just think he has a lot to prove, and just to prove the doubters wrong, because I think he's better than USC's quarterback Slovis. I think he's one of the top three to me in the conference. I just have high expectations. I view him as like a Josh Allen type. I think he has a big arm, and I think they need to establish that early and throw some deep balls to my guy Booby Curry.
Don't say that too loudly. Our boys at Trojan Dash are going to hear you say that Grant Cannell is better than Keenan Slovis. They're going to go after us. But I mean, yeah, I think Grant Cannell. Go ahead.
Don't worry about that. I'm going to tell him tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll get into that later. But I don't know. I think Grant Cannell is legit. Like, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in this conference. Like, I don't think anybody. I agree. Like, I think it's now that he has the keys to the Porsche of this offense. Like, he's going to be the guy. Like, there's no more, starting the first drive and then having Khalil Tate come in the second drive and then he's coming out for the third drive. Like, it was so ridiculous watching that last year. It's so hard to get him going. Like, now that he's the guy and Noel Mazzoni, has built this offensive scheme around him, and he's got, that chemistry with Booby Curry, and he's got the chemistry with the guys around him. I think he's legit. I think this is a really good offense, and I'm pretty high on Grant Cannell as well. I mean, I am going to be really excited to watch him. Just every single drive. I'm not questioning. Is it going to be Tate or is it going to be Cannell? It's going to be Cannell every single drive. Like, I'm just so excited to see that, and I think he's going to do really well this weekend as well.
Yeah, I have high hopes for him, and that whole offense. They have a great offense, and I think they need to capitalize on a struggling USC defense. I mean, they just also, like I said, they can't fumble the ball. Like, teams that turn the ball over a lot are teams that lose, and it finally caught up to ASU is they just couldn't keep the ball in their hands.
USC couldn't keep the ball in their hands either. It was a pretty sloppy game.
They couldn't either, and I don't know. I just think USC's overrated. I think they've been overrated for years, and I just think that offense was good, but it's like Slovis isn't that good. Like the first 3 quarters, it was just totally sloppy football, and like the last few drives he was good. So yeah, I guess that's the big time football that matters. But I don't know. I think if this Arizona football plays decent and shows some good things, I think we have a good shot of winning. Arizona's a good shot of winning.
Why don't we get into our final topic of the day now? We were just talking